Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy, and today we're going to be taking a look at Airlines Europe. This is put out by Rio Grande Games, plays 2 to 5 players, and lasts about 75 minutes. So let's take a look at what you get in the box. So this is all that you get in the box with Airlines Europe. Mind you, this is not set up exactly correctly. These airplanes don't all go on the board. I just wanted you to see all that you got. You get a ton of little airplanes with this game. Instantly, as soon as I started putting them out on the board, I started to think Risk. But you get a ton of these airplanes that come in the board, in the game. You get stock cards. You get little tokens that go around the board. You get paper money, you get these little victory point tokens, and you get player aid cards, which I always appreciate. And you get a really nice insert. They actually say in the instructions that they encourage you to keep all of the airplanes in the box, which is a great suggestion because it's really handy. Artwork is great. Everything looks good to me. Is quality components. The cards are really nice linen style. The paper money, I guess, would be the negative. It's already starting to get beat up, and I've played this maybe a dozen times, if that, and so it's really starting to get beat up. But these player aid cards are a nice thick cardboard. Components are good. Let me tell you about Airlines Europe. So what is the game about? Airlines Europe, in essence, you are trying to expand airlines that you have stock in order to get victory points. At the end of the game, there's a little tracker here that kind of goes around, and at the end of the game and throughout the game, they're going to give out victory points based off of the stock, where the airline stock is at the moment, and whoever has the most at that time gets the payout, second, third, and on down the line. So I would say, to me, the best explanation of this game is this is a great mashup between, like, and I use this loosely, a great mashup between like Ticket to Ride and an economic game, maybe like Acquire, because you're trying to get stocks of a airline and you're trying to expand the airline so that it gets bigger. I actually found out about this game because I loved Acquire so much, and somebody said, well, if you like Acquire, then check out Airlines Europe. And I really think it's a good definition to say it's kind of like Ticket to Ride meets Acquire, and they had a kid. It would be Airlines Europe. So there you go. So how do you play Airlines Europe? On your turn, you can do one of 4 things, and this is it. Similar to Ticket to Ride, you can only do one thing. So often what you're trying to do is do something now so that your next turn you get to do something later. So on your turn, you get to do a couple things. I'll explain them, and then we'll come back and tell you why this is important. On your turn, you can pay to expand a route or route, however you say it, of an airline company. So basically you pick a company that you want to expand, like the yellow one here, and then you look for a route. Now there's numbers that go in between regions. You don't have to pay for all those, so I'm not going to, let's say I'm going from Frankfurt to Vienna, I'm not going to fill up this route with yellow guys. That's not how that works. I would just pay once, pay one of these numbers, and now I have a connection between Frankfurt and Vienna. And the others are basically like, if you come along later and you want to make a connection through there, you're going to have to pay more now. So these numbers generally start from 3, but they can be as much as 8. I think that's the most, is 8. But as they go up, so let's just say that somebody else wanted to come along later, say the gray airline wanted to come through. Because yellow came through first, now they have to pay 4 to go through there. So on your turn, you could pay to expand an airline, and you pay based off of the number that's on the board. So I would pay 3 million euros to add this airline connection from Frankfurt to Vienna. And then you have the option to add an additional route. So let's just say that I wanted to now extend Vienna to the middle of nowhere, wherever that is. I could pay another 3 million and go from there to there. When you do that, then you're given the ability to draw a stock card. Very similar to Ticket to Ride, there's going to be a draw pile. All of these stocks are actually going to be mixed up into a large draw pile, and you actually take out some of these if you're playing with less players, but these are actually shuffled up and then create a draw pile over here on the side. And so I think there's going to be 5 maybe forgive me, these aren't really mixed up well at all. But there's going to be 5 face-up stocks, or maybe it's 4. I can't remember. Don't hold me to that. But say there's either 4 or 5 that are out here. 5 looks like a lot. Maybe it's 4. So you can either draw one of these that are face up, or if you don't want any of those, then you can draw blindly and pick a stock. And so you put a stock into your hand. So that's the first thing that you do. Second thing that you do is you can take a stock from your hand and play it down onto your board. So you can do as many as you have of one color or one type of airline, or you can do one of 2 different types. Sorry if that's not clear, but as many of one or 2 single of different types of airlines. And why do you want to play them? The only stocks that count are the stocks that you have in front of you, the ones that are in play. So I could have a whole ton of airlines stock in my hand, but unless they're out on the board, they're not worth anything. So you actually have to take one of your turns to lay down your stock, and that does a couple things. One, it gives you something that actually counts when it comes time to score. Later on I'll tell you about that. But then 2, it also tells your opponents how many stock you have in play. Because remember, you can keep as many as you want in your hand and then play them down on one turn. So you could be trying to fool somebody out, and that's a strategy in this game, by holding on to stock and not letting them know what you've got. But that doesn't count. They don't count for anything unless you have them down on the board. And then, after you've laid your stock down, we're on the second thing that you can do. Once you've laid your stock down, you also get 2 million euros for each stock that you laid down. So you're getting cash back into your hand. The other thing that you could do is you can discard cards in order to get Air Abacus cards. Air Abacus, or Abacus, I don't know how you say it, so I'm just going to say Abacus. Air Abacus is a stock that is not in the draw pile at all. You're only able to get Air Abacus when you discard cards. So you're going to be getting rid of stock that you don't want or don't need, put them out, you discard those, and then you're able to get stock. And you get those at a ratio of, if you discard 1 stock, you get 1 Air Abacus. If you discard 3 stock, then you can get 2. And you can never get more than 2 on one turn. That's how that works. And then the last option that you have of something you can do is you just get 8 million bucks. So you're broke, I need $8 million. I like that because it keeps cash flow in the game, so you're never just stuck at the mercy waiting on the scoring to happen, or waiting on something to give you money. You're able to just, every turn, if you need money, keep getting money. And there's rules for if the bank runs out. They say that's pretty rare, but there are rules. If the bank runs out, then everybody has to discard down to 8 million, stuff like that. But those are the 4 things. That's all you can do. You can pay for an airline route, you can lay down stock, you can buy Air Abacus, or you can take $8 million. And that's all that you're going to be doing. So how do you get victory points? At the beginning of the game, and they'll tell you how, because I don't remember all the exact details, but you're going to be putting out these little scoring tracks into the deck. So I think the very last one, I think, is within the last 10 cards. So you take 10 cards, you shuffle them up, and then it goes on the bottom. So you know that the end of the game is within the last 10 cards. Then the other one, I think it's some weird thing, like they tell you to take 1/4 of the cards or something, and then you put it in the middle or something, and then you put the other one on top of that. It's something weird like that. And then you put the cards out. So on a turn, whenever you draw I shouldn't have hit that, but whenever you draw that scoring track that's a special card, you'll see it. Then you begin to score. And so the first thing that you'll do is, depending on who drew the card, you pass that to the next person, and then they get to draw one of these face-up stocks for free. So they get to draw a stock, then you get to draw a stock, and then once you've done that, then you put, I think you get rid of all of these stocks, and then you put all new ones out. And so, sorry, I didn't shuffle these, but anyways, you put new stocks out onto the board. And so everybody knows what they can get, they know what goes away, and then all of these new ones come out on the board. Then you go through and you start to score these airlines. So one thing I forgot to tell you is when you put out an airline, one of your first actions to pay to expand an airline, you're going to actually move the track up. So I expanded yellow for a total of 6 million, so I would actually move yellow up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the yellow airline went from being worth 0 points to 3 points. So let's just kind of move these up randomly so that we can kind of say that we've been playing for a little bit. Let's say somebody's ridiculous and they just invested a ton in black. So when scoring comes up, you actually look at where the airlines are at on the board. And at the bottom, right underneath each section, they're kind of grayed and a lighter gray, darker gray, lighter gray. If the token is within that section, you look underneath and it tells you how many points it's worth. So then you go and you look at what people actually have in front of them. Remember, it's not what's in their hands, it's what's on the table. And then you say, who has the most? And so I would just simply go through and I'd say, okay, who has the most black? And then we'd go around the board, we'd say the most person with black gets 8. So then we go through and we'd give them 8 victory points. They take these, keep them face down so nobody knows what you've got. And then you go to the next person will get 4, 2, 1, and then 0. So it's definitely to your benefit to have the most laid down when you think that you're getting close to a scoring come up, because if you have a whole bunch in your hand and you haven't laid it down, then you might not get anything, or you could squeeze by. Or what's a really good strategy is for you to hold on to some cards and let some other dude pay all the money to beef up black and then lay them down at the last second, take majority, and he basically got you 10 victory points and he only gets 5. So it's a great strategy. So that happens 3 times in the game. So first time that happens, then you go through and you're trying to catch up with people, and then it goes all the way until it's the last round. On the last round, you do all the scoring, but then and you also do air abacus each time. I forgot. So air abacus, remember, you can only get these when you buy them by discarding stock, and then these go up, and on the last round, the majority holder of air abacus gets 16. So that's a ton of points. And so without having to pay any money onto the board, you could get 16 points just by discarding stock and getting a ton of these. Happens until you get to the last one in the game, and then scoring, whoever has the most victory points in their pile win the game. So what do I think about Airlines Europe? I really like it. I'm a board game guy, so I came from Acquire and I like the economics of Acquire, but it's so boring looking. Like I've got another review, I don't know if I put it on YouTube yet or not, but of Acquire, and the board is just like numbers and C5 and D11, stuff like that. It's just so boring. This, to me, I just love visually. I just love the little airplane tokens, and I love the pretty board, and I love having these cards in my hand. So to me, I get the benefit of an economic game without the boringness of an economic game. So I like that aspect of it. I like the components. I like how it plays. There is a lot of strategy. My brother-in-law played the other day. He had surgery, so he was at home recovering, and we played the 2-player version, which added, I'd never played that before, and I really liked it. But I thought I was totally destroying him. And then because of the player variant at the end, anyways, he ended up, I beat him by 1 point. So I thought that I was killing him, but I really came down to just 1 point. And so I really would have felt like an idiot if I told him the whole time, which I did, that I thought I was killing him, and then he beat me. But I like this game. I don't know if it's not super economic heavy, but it is. It's about money and stocks and trying to hold on to stuff and play it down. So there's strategy in it, and I just like this game. There's some expansions I bought off BoardGameGeek.com, but I haven't played these yet. They add in some extra things that you can do. Presidents of the airlines, and you can block airports and all kinds of stuff. And there's also extra things that you can get if you complete a route or route, however you say it. So if you completed the route for the Orange airline to go from Athens to London, then you could get extra victory points, or not victory points, but it speeds up where the guy, where the guy is on the track. So there's some other things like that in the game, but overall, man, I love it. I just like Airlines Europe. I think it's a fun game. I traded this with a guy locally, and at the time it was out of print, and so I was so excited to get my hands on it. I think it's back in print now, and I heard rumors that maybe they're doing an expansion. I don't know, but to me, I'm just so glad that I have this in my collection. It's a solid game that I can pull out with anybody. It's not really difficult to teach at all. I would say that this is kind of a, I don't know, it's not entry level, but it's not mid level, and it's definitely not heavy at all. So it's just somewhere in the middle there. Maybe a little beyond a gateway game, I guess, but I really like it. So I definitely give it a, well, let me tell you, at the end of our reviews, we always do a 1-die rating. Do we think you should buy it, play it, or hate it? Buy it means that you love the game. It gets a green die. Play it means you like it, but maybe you would buy it. And then red means you hate it. I don't want to have anything to do with this game. This is definitely a green buy it game for me. If you have somebody who wants to trade you for this game, trade for it. If you see it online for a good deal, go get it. If it's at your local hobby shop and they've got it on the shelf, pick it up. I really don't think that you're going to be disappointed in this game unless you're like a real deep fantasy player, war gamer, any of those kinds of things. Then I don't know if you're going to like this game because it is kind of light and it is economic. So, but if any of those things sound great to you, then go out and buy this game. Good job, Rio Grande. So anyways, that's my review of Airlines Europe. We've got a lot more reviews on our website, boardgamecloset.com. Thanks for watching our videos, and as always, support your local hobby shop.